You can feel it already, that tug in your chest when the room grows quiet and the scroll slows down, like someone pressed pause on the noise just long enough for you to hear the truth you keep half hearing and half dodging. You were never built for camouflage. You try to blend. You learn the moves. You played the polite version of yourself that gets invited, approved, tolerated. But the real you keeps tapping the glass from inside, and the tapping is louder tonight because something is lining up. Monday is close enough to touch, and there is a decision there with your name on it. Not a decision to prove yourself. God doesn't ask for auditions, but a decision to remember who you are and to move like it's true. If you've ever wondered why being chosen feels so heavy, it's because you've carried the weight of expectations that didn't fit your shoulders. In childhood, we borrow patterns from the rooms we grow up in because our nervous systems are obedient learners. If love felt inconsistent, you learn to chase and please. If love felt conditional, you learn to perform and perfect. If love felt distant, you learn to withdraw and never need. Those strategies worked then. They kept you safe. They made you clever at reading the weather of people, the micro shifts in tone, the door that never slams, but also never fully opens. You survived with those moves. But here's the turn. Survival strategies aren't identity. God's voice doesn't sound like a threat. He doesn't say earn. He says, I knew you before I formed you. Identity precedes instruction. Belonging comes before behavior. That is why the label chosen should feel more like oxygen than obligation. When you hear chosen, the old scripts might flare up. If I'm chosen, I can't fail. If I'm chosen, I have to get it right. If I'm chosen, everyone's watching. Notice the heart rate spike. Notice the shoulders tense. That is your body remembering rooms where love tightened into metrics. Breathe. Your body is not your enemy. It's your historian. It's handing you a transcript, not a sentence. When the transcript reads, affection arrives when I am useful. We don't tear it up. We annotate it with truth. You're not loved because you're useful. You're useful because you're loved. That's the order God keeps. Watch how your attachment pattern tries to drive the car when Monday's pressure creeps in. Anxious patterns whisper, say yes to everything. Be indispensable. Don't let them be disappointed. Avoidant patterns murmur, don't ask, don't need, exit before they can reject. Disorganized patterns slam the gas and the brake at once. Come here, no, get away. None of that is wicked. It's the nervous system trying to keep you alive in rooms that once confused love with scarcity. But you are not walking into Monday as the child who had to negotiate for safety. You are stepping in as the one God knew, formed, set apart, and commissioned. Safety is no longer something you hustle for. It is something you carry. You can be open without collapsing. You can be honest without apologizing for breath. The enemy of identity isn't doubt. It's amnesia. Doubt asks questions and can be discipled. Amnesia forgets the story and tries to invent a new self every crisis. Monday's test will not ask for a rebrand. It will ask for remembrance. Remembrance sounds like this. I am not what I fear. I am not what I lost. I am not what they announced in their frustration. I am the workmanship of God, already authored, and I walk into this week as someone he trusts with the next page. That line matters. He trusts you. We often say we trust God, and we should, but it heals something deep to realize he also entrusts, which is what being chosen actually means. He puts a key in your hand and calls you faithful before you feel it. Identity is not a mood. It's a relationship. People often imagine spiritual identity like a static badge. Chosen. Approved. Next. But God frames identity as covenant. In covenant, you are known and held, corrected and cherished. That matters for Monday because pressure always shrinks life down to either slash or. Either you press harder or you pull away. Either you impress or you disappear. Covenant creates a third road, presence. Presence says, I can stay. I can ask questions. I can draw a boundary without exile. I can say this is what I mean and this is what I need without turning love into a hostage situation. That's not bravado. that someone standing where belovedness plants their feet. You will feel a familiar tug to play smaller so the room stays calm. You'll also feel the counter urge to play bigger so your fear stays quiet. Neither is the real assignment. The real you is not fractioned by other people's temperatures. You read the room to serve, not to self-erase. You use your voice to bless, not to bulldoze. You tell the truth because love requires clarity. If you've been told your truth is too much, translate that. Your clarity kicks up dust where confusion was useful. Keep speaking with tenderness. Keep listening like you expect wisdom from the other person. But don't bargain your name to protect someone's comfort. God won't require you to become a stranger to yourself to keep a peace he didn't sign. Notice the subconscious vows that try to reboot when stakes rise. I will never need anyone. I will prove them wrong. I will never be caught off guard again. Those vows feel like strength, but they lock the heart in solitary confinement. Vows are clever prisons. Ask God to commute those sentences. Trade the vow for a blessing. I will receive help without shame. I will move in truth, not revenge. I will be watchful and still open. Your nervous system will argue at first. That's okay. Speak the blessing again. Your biology can learn a gospel cadence. This is where the psychology blends with the holy. You don't heal attachment just by understanding it. You heal by attaching to someone trustworthy. That someone says he won't leave. In practice, that means when the meeting, the message, or the unexpected silence hits Monday morning, you don't sprint to the old shelter. You pause. You breathe into the belly, longer out than in. You remind your body the shepherd is here, not metaphorically, but literally, as present as breath. You ask, what part of me wants to rush? And you invite that part to ride with you but not touch the wheel. Authority isn't domination. It's inner order. You set things in order by remembering where home is. Chosen doesn't mean spotlight. It means assignment. Some assignments are hidden on purpose. Some are quiet, steady revolutions. How you speak to your child in the car. How you refuse sarcasm when you could score a point. How you go first in apology. How you don't weaponize silence. The kingdom loves those small hinges. Doors swing on them. On Monday, the hinge might be one sentence that refuses the old dance. I want to understand what you need. Or let's slow the decision so we choose well. Or no. Thank you, with a soft face and a steady voice. People think miracles are always loud. Many are gentle and irreversible. I won't pretend you haven't been wounded in rooms that name God. Sometimes the deepest confusion comes from spiritual spaces that got the tone wrong. Maybe scripture was used like a leash. Maybe authority meant don't ask. Maybe excellence meant exhaustion while somebody called it devotion. Hear me. God is not asking you to return to bondage so you can prove your humility. He breaks yokes. He doesn't polish them. If a voice tells you to shrink in order to be holy, test that voice. Holiness isn't smallness. It's wholeness. The chosen life isn't a stage. It's a steady yes that grows you up into love. You may be tempted to over-prepare, to control the variables so nothing can surprise you. That's anxiety wearing a lab coat. You don't have to perform your way into security. You secure yourself in the truth and then choose wisely. There's a difference between preparation and preoccupation. Preparation equips, preoccupation exhausts. Ask this simple question as Monday approaches. What truth about me would change how I walk into that room? Maybe it's, I am already sent. Maybe it's, I don't have to win to be worthy. Maybe it's, I carry peace that doesn't depend on their mood. Let that line hold your posture. Shoulders down, jaw unclenched, eyes soft. The spirit loves a relaxed face. If you feel unqualified, remember, God never recruited you for your illusion of control. He called you because love does its best work through honest humans who keep choosing presence over performance. He's not surprised by your tremble. The tremble is the proof you're not running the show, and that's good news. Grace is most efficient in people who stopped auditioning. You're not about to be weighed on a scale. You are about to be trusted with a moment. And when the old fear says, what if I'm not enough? Hear the better question. What if I don't have to be enough alone? The lie of isolation wants you exceptional but separate, impressive but unreachable. Identity in Christ lands you excellent and connected, clear and kind, bold and teachable. That paradox is the sign you're standing in the right story. You can hold your ground and hold a hand. You can tell the truth and keep your tenderness. You can correct and still convey warmth. You can say no and remain in love. Some will misunderstand your new steadiness. They knew the version of you that shrank in conflict or performed in pressure. They may try to bargain you back into the old contract. We liked you better when you were more flexible, which is code for easier to manage. Smile. Bless them. Don't sign what you've outgrown. The chosen path matures your yes and your no alike. When your no becomes clean, unapologetic, unpunishing, unafraid, your yes becomes holy again. So as Monday edges closer, don't psyche yourself up like an athlete about to outrun his nerves. Center yourself like a person who knows their name. You are not entering a test you can fail by being human. You are entering an appointment you can honor by being whole. Let the room feel your groundedness before it hears your brilliance. Let your peace be the first credential. If you have to choose between being impressive and being present, choose presence. People remember how they felt with you long after they forget your bullet points. You were never built for camouflage. The world does not need more agreeable echoes. It needs anchored people. When you walk in holding your name the way God says it, beloved, chosen, sent, the room makes small adjustments. Timelines ease. Voices modulate. Harshness loses courage. You didn't coerce anything. You let the truth keep time. That is what happens when identity walks before you. And if you still worry you might shrink when it matters, write yourself a simple line tonight and carry it into Monday like a key. I do not bargain my name for belonging. Say it softly before the call, the meeting, the moment. Say it in the elevator, on the sidewalk, between sentences. Let it lower your shoulders. Let it warm your tone. Let it keep you near yourself. That nearness is what God blesses. That nearness is where courage makes its home. Monday won't crown you or crush you. It will reveal what you carried in. Carry your name like it's true. Carry your name like it's true, and watch what rises next. The moment you stop auditioning for belonging, the room inside you gets louder with the parts that learn to keep you alive. They step forward with their scripts in hand, asking if Monday will be like the old rooms, if you'll need them to run the show again. You'll recognize them by their tones. One part wants to smooth everything over before anything goes wrong. One wants to be flawless so no one can touch you. One wants to disappear until danger passes. Another wants to control the board so nothing can surprise you. They're not villains. They are brilliant survivors that were hired when you were small, and they believe the job is still theirs. When you feel them, don't argue, appreciate. They kept you here. Then calmly update them. The conditions have changed, and so have you. This is where your history becomes holy ground instead of courtroom. Think back to the rooms where you first learned love had fine print. Maybe your needs felt like burdens. Maybe your joy was too loud for tired adults. Maybe excellence won you attention that should have been given freely. Maybe silence kept you safe when telling the truth made the air go thin. Those moments wrote rules without asking permission. Be small, and no one will be mad. Be perfect, and no one will leave. Be self-sufficient, and no one will call you too much. Your body stored those rules like emergency exits. It still checks them when new doors open. That checking isn't rebellion. It's prudence. You won't bully your way out of it. You will bless your way through it. Notice how the loop works. A cue arrives, tone, delay, raised eyebrow, a calendar invite with the wrong subject line. And your body reads it like a thunderclap. Heat in your chest. Buzz in your hands. Thought fragments sprinting ahead. Without noticing, the old story boots up. Here we go again. I'm on trial. I need to fix this before they see me. Then comes the move that always kept you safe, flooding the zone with competence, retreating behind polite distance, picking a fight to control the ending. It works short-term. It keeps the vertigo away. But pay attention to the hidden cost. After the moment passes, shame taps your shoulder, and says, "See, you still don't belong without your tricks." Shame is clever because it uses your proof against you. The loop closes and waits for its next cue. Now watch what redemption does without spectacle. It doesn't pretend the cue isn't real. It doesn't shame you for feeling. It changes the prediction. That's all. When a cue arrives on Monday, the same heat may rise. Let it. Put a hand on your sternum if you can. Lengthen the exhale a beat longer than the inhale so your body hears safety in your breath. Then speak inside with a simple, steady tone. This sensation is history, not destiny. I'm allowed to pause. I tell the truth now. The moment you do this, you introduce new data into an old equation, and the brain, which is exquisite at learning, begins to reconsolidate the memory it once guarded with armor. The next time, the heat comes lower. The story slows. Your options widen. That widening is freedom, and freedom is what you'll carry into rooms others only survive. Some people say, turn your wounds into weapons. That sounds strong, but it often breeds more damage. You don't need more weapons. You need instruments. Think of a scar that altered your gait. You learned to walk differently because your body protected itself. Later, you strengthen the right muscles so you can move without the limp. In soul work, the instrument is assignment. Where you were ignored, your assignment becomes attention that dignifies. Where you were managed, your assignment becomes presence that doesn't punish. Where you were silenced, your assignment becomes words that build bridges, not cages. Where chaos trained you to always be on alert, your assignment becomes steadiness, the kind that lets other people breathe. This isn't about crafting a persona. It's about letting grace reuse the very places the enemy thought would define you. You'll see it at street level. The colleague who interrupts every sentence used to trigger the old rule that said, speak faster, prove you belong, talk over him so you don't drown. Your new assignment hears urgency and responds with clarity instead of combat. I'm not finished yet. Then I'll hear you. Said with a human tone, not a courtroom voice. Or the silence after you text a vulnerable truth. The old rule says, chase it with a joke so they know you're easy. The assignment lets the silence be what it is, data, not a verdict. You will not abandon yourself while waiting. Or the family table where roles try to slot you back into the comedian, the fixer, the quiet one. The assignment makes space without a show. You answer like yourself. You excuse yourself when needed. You don't teach a seminar on boundaries at dinner. You live one. At some point, you'll ask, how do I know it's an assignment and not just a trigger dressed in church words? You'll know by the fruit in the room. Triggers narrow the field and demand that everyone behave to soothe your nervous system. Assignments widen the field because you bring your own peace. Triggers make you urgent, brittle, righteous. Assignments make you grounded, responsive, accurate. Triggers want control. Assignments offer leadership. The body knows the difference. So does the atmosphere. When shame tries to narrate your evolution, it will either tell you you're not changing fast enough or that your change is performance. You don't owe shame a podium. Talk back with reality. I'm not late to my life. I'm on time for this chapter. I'm not faking peace. I'm practicing it. My nervous system wasn't broken. It was brilliant at protecting me. Now it can be brilliant at receiving. You're not sweet-talking yourself. You're telling the truth out loud until your bones catch it. You might feel grief as you untie your identity from your protections. That's honest. Those protections raised you. They paid the bills. They won applause. They prevented explosions. Let yourself bless what they gave and mourn what they cost. Grief will not drown you. Ungrieved pain is the one that keeps shouting. Tears are how the soul convinces the body it's allowed to move on. You will also need clean language for harm. Not dramatic language. Clean. Forgiveness that erases reality isn't forgiveness. It's spiritualized denial. Boundaries that punish aren't boundaries. They're revenge in nicer clothes. Truth that humiliates isn't truth. It's theater. The redeemed assignments you carry don't erase what happened. They refuse to let what happened be the author. That's why your no will get simpler. Not barbed, just true. And your yes will regain its joy because it no longer smuggles resentment to pay for belonging. Somewhere along the way, a younger you made vows to keep you safe. I will never need. I will always be prepared. I will make sure no one can catch me off guard. Those vows worked like adrenaline. They also kept love at arm's length. You don't break vows by force. You outlove them. Try this in a quiet room. Picture that younger you at the moment the vow was made. The lighting, the smells, the little fists, the determined chin. Tell them the vow made sense then. Tell them thank you. Then offer a new promise from the adult you are now. I will need wisely, and I will not be ashamed. I will be prepared where it matters and playful where it doesn't. I will be surprised and still be safe. Most people are waiting for God to thunder over these moments. He often whispers. The whisper is enough because it lands where thunder never could. You'll find yourself practicing repair at a level you used to avoid. Not groveling. Repair. When you notice you shifted into an old move, over-explaining because the room felt cold, withdrawing because a text felt sharp, name it faster and return faster. I'm noticing I sped up there. Let me try again. I went quiet because I got anxious. Here's what I meant. Repair proves to your body that the story can continue without catastrophe, which is the opposite of the shame loop, where the story stops with a verdict. Repair is resurrection at conversational speed. In the environments that once confused your compass, remember how to tell the difference between danger and discomfort. Danger asks you to leave now. Discomfort invites you to breathe and decide. Many of us were taught to treat discomfort like emergency and emergency like ordinary. No wonder our systems are tired. Monday will bring both. Wisdom will help you sort them. If it's danger, you won't earn the right to be safe by being more agreeable. You'll just leave and choose life. If it's discomfort, you won't earn the right to be seen by performing. You'll stay present and choose voice. There's a quiet kind of courage you'll need when people prefer the version of you that was easier for them. They might test the edges. They might throw old jokes like fishing lines to see whether you'll bite and swim back into the old tank. Let the joke fall without catching it. Keep your eyes kind. Keep your posture steady. You aren't punishing them. You're refusing to punish yourself to keep the peace. Over time, good people adapt to truth. Those who don't weren't using love the way you thought. What about the ones who harmed you and share your language about God? This is delicate work. You can bless and still decline access. You can forgive and still require repair. You can pray for them and still keep your phone on Do Not Disturb. It isn't bitterness to honor your nervous system's data. It's stewardship. Some reconciliations happen when both hearts are ready. Some happen only in heaven. You don't forfeit your calling by choosing safety on earth. If you need a simple way to reframe the story when the shame loop spins, try speaking to yourself the way you would to someone you love who is learning to walk again. Not lofty speeches. Brief sentences that fit in a breath. I see why that hurts. You're safe here. You can slow down. You can tell the truth. Watch what it does in your chest. The heat cools. The edges soften. Words become choices instead of weapons. And then you discover that the room changes not because you mastered a trick, but because you stopped abandoning the person God trusted from the beginning. The beauty of assignments is that they spread. You show up with steadiness, and another person's nervous system borrows it. You ask a clean question instead of delivering a verdict, and a face across from you unclenches. You model a boundary without rage, and someone realizes they don't have to choose between distance and drama. The redeemed places in you become invitations, not lectures. This is how God uses an ordinary Monday to redirect a lineage. You thought you were just getting through a meeting. Heaven thought you were repairing a pattern your grandparents never got a shot at. And underneath all of this is a quiet promise that won't shout to get your attention. Nothing that happened to you will go to waste. Not because pain is good, but because God is relentless at weaving good. The places that taught you to armor up will become the places you learn to open without bleeding out. The voice that learned to sell peace at a discount will learn to price it properly. The hands that learn to grip will learn to release. You won't have to earn this by being dramatic. You'll practice it in small sentences on a day most people call ordinary. That's why Monday matters. Not because it makes you worthy, but because it lets your worth do the work it was sent to do. So walk forward with simple attention. When the cue arrives, you'll feel the old script line up beside you. Think it. Update it. Choose the sentence that keeps you near yourself. Let that nearness be what you bring to every door you open. This is how wounds become assignments, not identities. This is how stories get redeemed in real time, at real tables, in real offices, with real people who don't even know they were asking for the kind of presence you now carry. And this is how you'll step into Monday, not hoping to survive the storm, but prepare to host the kind of weather that helps others find their way home. And now the air thickens the way it does before rain. Monday is not dramatic yet, but it's gathering. It begins as a feeling you can't quite name. The inbox pings a little earlier, the calendar shifts a little colder, someone's sentence lands with a sharp edge you didn't expect. Your body knows the weather before your mind does. The chest gets tight. The jaw inches forward. Vision narrows. This isn't weakness. This is a nervous system working as designed. The amygdala tags novelty as risk. The hypothalamus flips on the alarm. Energy floods to the big muscles, away from fine detail and digestion. Precision fades because sprinting matters more than embroidery when a storm looks close. No shame here, just data. The goal isn't to never feel this. The goal is to recognize it faster and decide what it means. You'll feel the old urge to label the sensation as proof that you are in danger or failing or about to be exposed. Pause in the first gust. The feeling is a wave, not the ocean. The first chemical surge passes quickly if you don't feed it with the worst story. Let that window belong to breath. In through the nose, slow and steady. Out through the mouth, a beat longer than you took in, like fogging a mirror without the sound. That longer exhale tells the vagus nerve the lions are not actually circling your desk. Shoulders soften. Sun comes back in. You can see more of the room again. The wave did what waves do, and you stayed. Now give your mind something better to do than scan for doom. Lift your eyes and let your gaze widen. Take in the corners of a room. Name what is solid. Feet on floor. Chair under you. The light coming through the curtain. This is called orienting, but you don't need the label to benefit from the honesty. You are here, not there. It is now, not then. Your body is brilliant at recognizing place. And place matters when panic tries to sell time travel. Then speak a sentence that does not argue with the storm, but also does not worship it. Try this. I can carry energy without calling it danger. Notice how different that feels from I have to calm down. You don't have to suffocate your own aliveness to be faithful or wise. You need to steward the energy so it serves what you value. Another sentence, even simpler, I am allowed to pause. That permission is power. It returns you to the helm. Threat says if you don't move, you'll drown. Training says if you don't choose, the current will choose for you. You're not here to freeze or to thrash. You're here to steer. Steering begins inside. Let a short prayer ride your breath to give the brain a steady track. Be still, and on be out on still. Or peace I receive. Or Abba, I belong to you. Keep it short so it fits in a breath and can travel with you down a hallway or into a call. This is not magic. It's attachment. You're using words to remind your body who holds you. The mind quiets when it feels kept. The storm will try to narrow meaning into two options, disaster or triumph. You do not have to pick either. Meaning could be quieter than that. Maybe the storm means your capacity is stretching. Maybe it means a conversation wants clarity. Maybe it means a plan needs adjusting, not abandoning. You can choose an interpretation that leaves your dignity intact. You can declare, this pressure is information, not a verdict. When you do, your frontal lobes start to come back online. Options return. Humor peeks in. You are you again. Let's make it practical in scenes you'll recognize. The email arrives with a blunt tone and a deadline that ignores reality. Old you types fast, overpromises, and resents it later. Storm informed you asks one grounding question before you answer. What am I solving for? Approval, avoidance, or accuracy? Approval will spend you. Avoidance will cost you. Accuracy will honor the work and the humans. You breathe, soften your jaw, and write, to meet the quality we both want, here's a realistic timeline and what I could deliver by 3 p.m. today. If a hard deadline exists I can't see, let's adjust scope. You didn't escalate. You didn't submit. You led. Or the call starts, and a voice you respect sounds clipped. Old you would chase tone with jokes or flood the zone with competence. Storm informed you names reality internally. Tight voice over there, tight chest over here. Neither is a crime. Then you slow your pace instead of speeding up. You ask one clean question to widen the space. Before we dive in, is there anything competing for your attention that I should know about? Often the weather breaks right there. Not because you fixed a person, but because you refuse to let urgency make you small or sharp. Or the silence after you share something vulnerable with someone you love. Old you spirals. Storm informed you allows 3 beats of quiet, and then chooses presence over panic. I noticed I said a big thing, and there's a pause. Do you need a minute to take it in? Or should I clarify what I meant? No accusation. No apology for feeling. Just stewardship of the moment. You protected connection without abandoning self. Understand what your body is doing in these moments, so you don't shame it for being loyal. When novelty shows up, adrenaline and cortisol mobilize you. That's not sin. That's electricity. In a threat state, that electricity narrows attention and prepares you to fight or flee. In a challenge state, the same electricity sharpens focus without stealing empathy or voice. The difference isn't the sensation, it's the story. You don't force your body to feel peaceful. You assign the energy a job. Let the heat in your chest become warmth in your tone. Let the buzz in your hands become animation in your gestures without letting your hands start writing checks your calendar can't cash. That's leadership on a human scale. We're not bypassing reality with scriptures like bandages slapped over a leak. We're letting truth tune the instrument so it plays what it was built to play. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. That line is not a scolding. It's a gift. You can receive peace and still feel the wind. You can be still inside and still make moves outside. Be still and know that I am God does not mean freeze. It means stop worshiping the worst-case scenario. Knowledge of God relocates fear to its proper size. When the rumble is louder, when the change is sharp, a cancellation you didn't expect, a diagnosis that rearranges a month, a conflict that startles you awake. Remember the simple physics of steadiness. Slow is smooth. Smooth is fast. The quickest way to clarity is not sprinting. It's refusing to be yanked. Put both feet on the ground if you can. Feel the weight. Let your eyes find a stable point in the room. Ask for wisdom out loud, even under your breath. Lord, show me the next right sentence. Not the next 20 moves, just the next sentence. That is enough to keep you in today where God promised to meet you. If you grew up in rooms where urgency meant love and collapse meant care, your body will want to recreate that theater. It will try to escalate or disappear so somebody will prove you matter. Tenderly refuse. You don't have to create crisis to be seen. You don't have to disappear to be safe. You can sit in your chair, feel your heart, tell the truth, and require dignity. And if someone tries to drag you back in a frenzy because that's how they know they're alive, bless their pattern, but do not rent a room. The storm stops renting you. 2. When you price your peace at full value. You'll notice that once you stabilize your own weather, you start to regulate the room without announcing it. Voices match the pace of the calmest person with authority. Let that be you. It's not a performance. It's a devotion. You're protecting everyone's brain from shrinking under pressure. You're creating conditions where people can think, apologize, decide, and imagine. That is holy work, even when no one names it. Use your words to keep your body honest, and your body to keep your words kind. If your voice shakes, lower your volume instead of raising it. If your hands want to punctuate every syllable, let them rest on the table for 2 breaths. If your face tries to go blank to protect you, warm it with the smallest smile you can mean. Not a mask. A signal to your system that you are not in court. You are in a conversation with another image bearer, and God is not pacing the hallway. He is here. When panic argues, you will lose everything if you don't hustle now. Answer with the math of faith. Hustle can win you speed. It cannot purchase favor. Favor is not for sale. You already carry what hustle keeps trying to borrow. Keep doing your part. Make the call, adjust the plan, ask for help, but refuse the lie that you must harm yourself to keep a promise God never asked you to make. This won't make you numb. It will make you precise. You will feel more, not less. You will tell truth sooner. You will correct quicker. You will forgive cleaner. And when the storm keeps beating on the surface, you will know what sailors know. Deep water is calmer. You will go there fast, not by shutting down, but by dropping anchor inside. That anchor is not a technique. It's a person. Presence is not an idea. It is a presence. You won't always feel it first. Act like it anyway. Faith often looks like someone behaving as if the promise is reliable before the sensation cooperates. On Monday, in the hallway outside the room where stakes feel high, put your palm to the wall for a second. Feel the cool plaster. Whisper your line. Be still. Peace I receive. I'm allowed to pause. Then walk in not to prove, but to host. Host clarity. Host courage. Host curiosity. If someone arrives swinging storms, don't swing back. Don't shrink. Plant your feet and choose sentences that move the moment toward truth without needing to win. Sometimes the storm calms. Sometimes it keeps raining and you put on your coat. Either way, you remain you, and that was the point. The proof that the reframe is real will be in the after. You'll end the meeting and realize you have energy left. You'll finish the call and find no resentment smoldering under your ribs. You'll go home and still have a voice for the people you love. Storms used to empty you. Now they train you. And training is what builds the quiet strength you'll need for the decisions that actually shape a life. Keep that simple habit close. Feel, breathe, orient, speak one true sentence, and act like you are kept. It is not glamorous. It is not complicated. It is how you become the person your younger self hoped you might be when the weather changed. That person is already here. Monday just gives you a chance to practice being them on purpose. So practice starts before the week answers you. You don't wait for the door to swing to decide who you are on the threshold. The preparation is quiet on purpose, done in the kind of minutes most people donate to scrolling. It begins with returning, not striving. Returning your mind to the one who kept you through nights you barely noticed. Returning your body to the present chair. Returning your breath to a pace that tells the inside world, we are not in danger right now. You wake, and the old reflex reaches for the phone. Pause a few inches sooner. Lay your hand over your heart the way you would calm a child. It is a simple gesture, but the body listens to touch. One sentence, soft and unhurried. I belong to you before I belong to any task. If words feel far away, borrow shorter ones. Be still on the in-breath. I am held on the out. You're not trying to feel holy. You are telling the truth to tissue and bone. That is what prayer looks like when it stops auditioning and starts attaching. Then open a page. No fancy system needed. The page is where noise liquefies. Write what you don't want to say out loud yet. Name the fear, the hope, the thing you wish would solve itself. Ask 3 small questions to keep the words honest. What am I sensing? What am I believing? What do I need? Sensing anchors you in the body where truth first knocks. Believing exposes the story you're tempted to worship. Needing humbles you without shrinking you. Let the answers be messy. God isn't grading grammar. He is meeting you in your real. Now, give the page a line that directs the day the way a keel directs a boat. One line is plenty. Today I choose presence over performance. Or today I practice a clean no and a generous yes. Or today I will not bargain my name for belonging. Leave white space after it. White space is a form of trust. It says I don't have to fill every inch to be safe. Stand up. Invite the body to catch up to the faith. Shake your hands. Roll your shoulders slow. Stretch the jaw you clench when you try to be perfect. Hum a single note in your chest to wake the vagus nerve. If you can, step outside. Let the light hit your eyes. A minute is enough to reset a clock you cannot see but always obey. Walk and pray with your feet if sitting makes you foggy. The Psalms were written by walkers. If this sounds small, that's because it is. Small is how humans change. Even trauma learned you in small daily lessons, repeated until your reflexes obeyed. You will unlearn the same way, not with a speech, with a rhythm. Rituals teach the body faster than ideas. So you make a ritual of returning. Touch, breath, page, line, light. You are tuning an instrument, not fixing a machine. Prepare your edges before they get tested. Boundaries are not walls. They're doors with hinges and a handle on your side. Boundaries work best when your body believes them. Rehearse in low stakes. Say the sentences you'll need when the room runs fast. Not in a mirror with theatrics. In a calm voice that respects everyone involved, including you. I can't do that by Monday, but I can offer this by Wednesday. I want to understand what you need before I answer yes. I'm not available for jokes about that. I will leave the meeting if we continue to interrupt. No anger. No apology for existing. You're not rehearsing to win a debate. You're preparing to stay inside yourself when someone knocks on the door with urgency that isn't yours. Make the decisions that make other decisions easier. Sleep the hour that keeps your amygdala from stealing your frontal lobe. Put water near the bed so you stop mistaking dehydration for dread. Decide the time your phone sleeps so your nervous system doesn't drink flashlight at midnight and call intimacy. Lay your clothes out like you would for a child you adore. Adoration is what discipline feels like when shame is not in charge. Decide a time to stop working the way you decide a time to start. You will not accidentally arrive at a life with room. You will choose it one constraint at a time. Prepare your calendar to be human-sized. Build breathing room around the moments that matter. If the meeting holds your week's hinge, don't book the hour before it with 5 small fires that make you clench. Protect the 15 minutes right after to write the follow-ups before your energy leaks elsewhere. If you serve people who are constantly on fire, remember that you are not a fire department. You are a person with a soul. If everything becomes urgent, nothing can be important. Put your values on your calendar, or someone else will add theirs. Practice asking for tiny help so the big ask doesn't feel like a cliff. People with strong attachment wounds often prefer heroic isolation to ordinary interdependence. Break the hero habit. Ask a teammate to proof the paragraph. Ask a friend to listen to the 3 sentences you can't get right. Ask the barista to decide your drink if your brain is tired. The ask is the training, not the outcome. It teaches your body that need is not a crime. When you notice dread in your stomach about a conversation, do not rehearse their worst response. Rehearse your calm. Imagine the room. Smell the coffee. Hear the chair. See yourself breathing before you speak. Then, in your mind, say one clear sentence and stop. Silence is not failure. It is space for dignity. If you expect yourself to carry the whole conversation on your back, you will sprint and collapse. Carry your sentence and let the other human be a human. You will learn more by listening than by saving. And when your turn returns, you will have enough air to be kind and precise. Train your attention the way you train a dog. Gentle, consistent, with clear cues and no shaming when it wanders. Use one focus at a time. Put the other browser tabs to bed. Out loud. Tell yourself what this next block is for. I'm writing the first page, not the whole report. I'm drafting, not polishing. I'm asking 3 questions, not winning the whole argument. Your brain loves bounded tasks. It does not love vague threats. Let scripture be food, not flashcards. Take one verse into the day and eat it slow. Romans 12 verse 2 is good food for a renewing mind. John 15 for abiding instead of striving. Psalm 23 for walking through valleys without setting up a tent. Try anchoring the verse to a body cue. When your shoulders rise, say he makes me lie down. When you catch yourself grabbing for approval, say apart from you, I can do nothing, and let it organize your pace. This is not superstition. It is integration. Truth moving through breath and blood until it feels less like a concept and more like home. Keep your technology from owning your state. Turn off non-essential notifications. Put your phone face down during conversations like you're guarding a candle from wind. If you lead people, your attention is a currency. Spend it where you mean to. If you love people, your attention is affection. Give it like it matters because it does. Make micro decisions that stack courage. Don't argue with yourself about a full workout. Do 5 honest minutes. Don't perform a flawless apology. Own the sentence you actually fumbled and repair it within the day. Don't architect the perfect weekly plan. Protect one anchor block and build outward. Don't wait to feel in the mood to pray. Say one breath prayer while you rinse a cup. These are not hacks to trick you into virtue. They are seeds. Seeds do not look like forests. And yet here we all are breathing proof of what small things can become. Sabbath is not a reward for finishing. It is a command because unfinished is the human condition. If you cannot stop, you are not powerful. You're captured. Practice stopping before the work is worthy of stopping. Sit on the floor. Taste your food. Let the sun warm your eyelids. Holy doesn't always feel like goosebumps. Sometimes it feels like an unclenched jaw. If anxiety is a frequent visitor, keep a small kit near you the way others keep pens. A folded page for quick brain dumps until the swirl quiets. A sentence you know calms you. A timer that can hold 5 minutes of focused work. A chewing gum to signal your body you aren't in famine. A reminder card with 3 names you can text for perspective. It is not weakness to have a plan. It is kindness. You are making it easier to be you when the wind rises. If you care about someone who runs on urgency, your preparation includes deciding what support you can offer without violating your own oxygen. You can witness their storm without swallowing it. I can help you think for 10 minutes, and then I have to return to my task. Clear and warm. Your yes remains generous because your no is clean. Let the evening close the circle your morning opened. Review without the prosecutor. 3 sentences are enough. Where did I choose presence? What did I spin? Will I try next time? Bless the smallest win. You didn't flood the zone when the email went sideways. You drank water before the call. You said no once without a paragraph of justification. Bless that. The soul grows where blessing lands. In the day the way you began it. Returning. Touch, breath, page, line, light if you can still catch some. If you missed the morning, do it now. Time is a circle when you live with God, not a ladder you fell off. Whisper what you worried you didn't do right. Hear the answer older than your worry. You were never loved for your efficiency. You were loved because I made you and I'm not changing my mind. That line puts the night on your side. This is how preparation becomes alignment. Heart tells the truth without drama. Mind chooses the better story without denying the hard one. Body learns safety in motion, not just in stillness. Boundaries learn to speak without burning the bridge under their feet. Micro decisions do what ego never could. Change the day without theater. Then when Monday shows up with its own plans, you won't be scrambling for self. You'll arrive with one. Already practiced, already attached, already steady enough to be interrupted without losing the plot. You've prepared your inner weather. Now your words have to carry that steadiness into other people's storms. Speaking is not just sound, it's signal. Your body is already broadcasting before your mouth opens. Pace, posture, eyes, hands. Let those signals match what you mean. Keep your shoulders easy, your jaw soft, your breath low. When you breathe from a belly, your voice drops into truth instead of panic. Say less, but say it clean. The room trusts clean. You'll notice the dance of energies in every conversation. Call them masculine and feminine if that helps. But remember, they live in everyone. One energy moves toward decision, protects time, frames the map, and picks the road. The other energy moves toward connection, protects bond, scans the horizon for what we might be missing. Neither is superior. Both are needed. Conflict often happens when one energy feels abandoned by the other. The solution mode feels blocked by feelings. The feeling mode feels bulldozed by solutions. You don't fix this by mocking difference. You bridge it by naming what you're doing. If you're in solve mode, say, I'm hearing what matters to you. I also want to propose a path. Are you open to a suggestion after we make sure I got you right? If you're in connect mode, say, I want the repair first. After we're settled, I'll help choose the plan. When people know which road you're on, they stop thinking you're lost. Ruptures aren't failures. They're inevitable. What matters is repair. Repair begins with ownership small enough to fit in one breath. That came out sharp. Let me reset. I missed what you were saying. Try me again. I'm getting flooded. I need 20 minutes. I'll be back at 2:30. That return time is holy. Without it, timeouts feel like abandonment. With it, timeouts feel like stewardship. Monday will test this. You'll feel your chest heat and your sentences gather speed. You want to win clarity by force. Resist. Slow your pace until meaning can keep up. Ask one real question. What do you most need me to understand before we pick a next step? Then reflect it in your words. So what you need is X because Y. And if we do Z, that helps. Is that right? Reflection doesn't make you compliant. It makes you accurate. People don't hear paragraphs as much as they hear posture. If your eyebrows are a verdict, your words can be poetry and still land like a hammer. So adjust your face. Warm your tone on the vowels. Let your mouth rest when they speak rather than prepping your rebuttal. Silence isn't losing. It's room for dignity. When you do speak, choose short clauses over stacked arguments. The brain under stress loves commas but respects periods. I want to understand. I also need clarity on scope. Can we slow this to outline what's essential? That's 3 sentences that do more work than 12. Bids for connection are the tiny doors relationships live in. Did you see this? Can I tell you something dumb that happened? Look at this sunset. Turn toward these bids. You don't need to do cartwheels. You just need to notice. I'm in the middle of something. Give me 5 minutes, and then I want to hear it. Or if 5 minutes isn't true, say a time that is. Turning toward is the glue that makes conflict survivable. Starving relationships of small yes, and then try to survive big disagreements is like canceling all meals and then attempting a marathon on an empty stomach. Gendered expectations complicate all this, not because of some cosmic rulebook, but because cultures teach scripts. Many men have been taught that offering solutions equals love. Many women have been taught that offering presence equals love. The trouble shows up when presence hears solution as dismissal and solution hears presence as avoidance. You don't punish difference. You translate it. If your partner comes home upset and you feel your fix-it engine rev, start with presence. That sounds heavy. Do you want me to just hear you or help you make a plan? If you come home wanting to be seen, but you also need something to change, say both. I need 10 minutes of just you with me. After that, I want your help choosing what to say tomorrow. Watch how relief moves through a body when it knows what's being asked. In workrooms, the same energies appear with different costumes. Decision energy protects the timeline and the product. Connection energy protects morale and meaning. Healthy teams name both. In Monday's meeting, you might be the one who says, we owe the deadline and we owe the culture. Let's not hit one by bankrupting the other. Here's a plan that gets us 80% by Friday with no heroics. Then we clean the rest next week. You honor the outcome and the humans. That's not compromise. That's leadership with both hands. Repair has a choreography you can practice until your nervous system stops throwing elbows. First, call your own foul without self-contempt. I interrupted you twice. I'm sorry. Second, check impact instead of defending intent. Did that put you on your heels? Third, ask for a do-over rather than bathing in guilt. Can I try that sentence the way I meant it? Fourth, offer a specific, not a promise to be better. I'm going to pause a breath before I jump in. If I miss, will you flag me? This isn't performance. It's discipleship of your mouth. When someone else injures you, refuse the 2 cheap roads, vengeance and vanishing. Neither produces the fruit you actually want. Try clean disclosure. When the deadline moved without me, I felt sidelined. I want to understand how decisions flow so I can do my best work. Notice the agency. You named what happened, what it did in you, and what you're after. You kept the door open to learning. If the pattern repeats, escalate cleanly. We've talked about this twice. The impact is growing. I need a concrete process change. Are you willing to draft it with me by Thursday? You didn't threaten. You didn't play nice until resentment curdled. You stayed human and specific. Tone policing yourself is not the same as self-control. You don't have to sound like a robot to be righteous. The Bible doesn't say, "A flat answer turns away wrath." It says, "Gentle one." Gentleness is strength under aim, not volume under zero. You can be firm and warm. I'm a no on that timeline. Here's what I can responsibly own. You can be honest and kind. That joke cost me. Please don't do it again. You could be wounded and faithful. That stung, and I'd like to understand how we got there so we don't repeat it. Sometimes the bravest sentence is a boundary made of calendar. I can meet for 30 minutes. At 25, I'll land the plane. Say at the top so you're not tempted to people please in the last minute and then resent them after. If someone pushes past your stated edge, you don't need to narrate their character. You hold to your plan. We're at time. I'll pick this up in the dock and send it. At first, your body will panic because historically, you've purchased peace with self-erasure. Keep your breath. The sky won't fall. And if it does, it was never your job to hold it up. If your nervous system floods and words scatter, have a way to stay in covenant without staying in the room. I care about this, and I'm not clear. I'm going to step out for 10 minutes, and I will return at 3:10. If you need something now, send it to me in writing, and I'll respond to what I can. Flooded brains speak lawsuits or go silent. Neither breeds trust. Timeouts with return times preach steadiness. When someone you love is the one in storm, become a field for their weather without pretending to be the weather itself. Mirror their emotion just enough to convey presence without hijacking the scene. You're angry, and that makes sense. I'm here. Do you want me right beside you or across the room while you pace? You gave them agency with location, which often calms mammals faster than arguments about logic. If they ask you to fix it and you can't, say what you can do. I can't change what he said. I can be the place you don't have to translate. There's a trap called weaponized certainty. It dresses up as conviction, but refuses curiosity. The way out is humility mixed with calibration. Here's what I think and what data I'm using. Show me what I'm missing. You model the kind of stance that can lead and learn at once. People copy the stances that keep them safe. And there's the opposite trap, weaponized ambiguity. It dresses up as nuance, but hides from commitment. Truth spoken in love won't always end in hugs. Sometimes love introduces friction because reality finally has a chair at the table. I don't agree, and I still want good for you. That sentence cuts the tether between affection and compliance. It lets adults be adults. If history taught you that voice equals danger, practice on safe ground. Ask for small preferences in low-stakes places. Can we sit by the window? I like to walk, not ride. The body learns it can want and live to tell the tale. Then scale to medium conversations. Then to Monday. Big rooms become simpler once you stop abandoning yourself in small rooms. Your speaking will change when your listening feels less like waiting to talk and more like wanting to learn. Ask questions that assume the other person is more than their worst sentence. What were you hoping I'd hear? What did this protect for you? What would good look like from your side? Curiosity is not capitulation, it's data collection. It turns enemies into humans and fights into problems that can be named and solved. Use closing rituals that return hearts to each other, even when agreements don't arrive. I still choose us. I'm not leaving the table because it's tense. Thank you for telling me something that wasn't easy to say. We're not finished, but we're okay. These aren't slogans, they're stitches. They stop little tears from becoming rips. Honor the words you choose by keeping the promises you make. If you say you'll circle back, circle. If you say you'll be kind when no one is clapping. If you say your yes, mean it. If you say your no, hold it without punishing anyone for asking. Integrity turns language into shelter. And if you need a prayer you can carry into any talk, from boardroom to kitchen, keep it close and brief. Make me quick to hear, slow to speak, and slower to anger. Put a guard over my mouth and honey in my tone. Let my yes be yes and my no be no. Let truth arrive dressed like love. Then walk in. If the moment breaks open because someone finally felt understood, bless God and keep going. If it doesn't, bless God and keep going. Results aren't proof of righteousness. Faithfulness is. This is how you speak and stand without losing yourself or the person in front of you. Your words become instruments, not weapons. Your silences become space, not punishment. Your boundaries become doors, not walls. And Monday becomes one more room where heaven gets a say in how humans treat each other. Through you, because you remembered who you are and let your mouth agree. Courage means you stop trying to feel brave first, and instead choose the next faithful move. Then let feeling catch up. That's covenant courage. Action bound to a promise bigger than adrenaline. You've already noticed how decisions blur when the weather rises. So you make pre-decisions now. Promises you bring into the room like a lantern. Not vows that punish you if you wobble, but agreements that keep you near yourself when pressure tries to make you a stranger. Begin with the covenant you carry between you and God. I move as one who is kept. It changes the goal. You don't act to earn safety, you act from safety. Then the covenant you make with yourself. I will not outsource my dignity to anyone's mood. That seals your edges. And the covenant you make with others. I will tell the truth in love and repair quickly when I miss. These three hold the day like a tripod. If one leg shakes, the other steady it. You'll hit crossroads on Monday where the old map says hurry at every corner. Covenant switches the signage. When you feel the pull to rush, your first move is not a sprint but a sentence. I decide after I see what is true. Truth is usually simpler than the story fear tells. Someone's urgency is a feeling. Data is a deadline, a scope, a cost, a human capacity. You ask 2 or 3 clarifying questions until reality has enough light to be seen. Then you choose, not to please, not to avoid, but to serve the mission you and God already agreed to carry. Sometimes the crossroad is ambiguity. Several good options, no villains competing goods. Covenant courage chooses traction over perfection. Ask, which move gives us the most learning with the least irreversible risk? Then take the smallest faithful step that reveals information. You do the next right thing, not the next impressive thing. Noise loves drama. Wisdom loves experiments. Sometimes the crossroad is injustice, a pattern that keeps sidelining the same people, a joke with a target, a decision-making process that erases voices. Covenant courage names reality without letting contempt lead. You connect consequence to values you've declared in daylight. We said we value dignity and clarity. When timelines move without the team, we violate both. Here's the minimum process that keeps us aligned. You ask for a concrete change in a time frame. If power resists, you document and escalate cleanly. You are not angry because your ego is bruised. You are steadfast because your soul is anchored. Sometimes the crossroad is sacred, a moment so tender that the next sentence could heal or bruise for a long time. Covenant courage slows even if the room is loud. You treat timing like theology. I need to honor what this means to you. I'd like to sleep on it and return tomorrow with a clear heart. You keep the date you set. That faithfulness is a sermon with skin on it. You won't always know which kind of crossroad you're in at the start. That's okay. Covenant gives you a progression that works in nearly every scene. First presence, then questions, then decision, then repair if needed. Presence keeps you from performing. Questions keep you from presuming. Decision keeps you from drifting. Repair keeps you human. You may run this loop 3 times before lunch. Each loop builds trust in your own steadiness. Covenant also lives in your calendar. It's not just what you say, it's what you schedule. You give Monday a spine so it can hold the weight without collapsing into email gravity. Protect the hinge moments you already named. The 15 quiet minutes at the top of the day, the 5-minute breath and check-in before the high-stakes call, the 10-minute debrief after to capture decisions while the field is still warm. Covenant courage looks ordinary from the outside. It looks like someone who knows what matters and treats it like it matters. If decisions around money, time, or attention wobble you, tie them to simple pre-agreements so the moment can't bully you. You can decide that you won't buy speed with self-disrespect. You can decide that you won't accept an opportunity that requires you to lie to your body. You can decide that your yes means leaving room to deliver without extracting the cost from your sleep or your family. When the ask comes, you don't debate your worth again. You hold the line you and God made on a calm day. Bring covenant into your tongue, too, because words are where courage is easiest to betray. Make one promise you intend to keep even when convenience argues. I will not use exaggeration to make myself safer. Another, I will not weaponize silence. Another, I will not sell intimacy cheaply to make a point. You'll break these sometimes. Humans do. That's why repair remains inside the covenant. I said it sharper than I meant. Here's the clean version. I went quiet to punish you. I'm back to talk like a partner. I overshared to score points. Let me recenter. Every repair builds a muscle that makes future courage cheaper. And the body carries covenant, too. Courage without sleep is cosplay. You are dust and breath. Your plan must remember both. If your schedule forces you to choose between competence and kindness by 3 p.m., you're not courageous. You're cornered. Change something you can actually change. Move one meeting, eat real food, drink the water, take the 5-minute walk that returns your brain to you. Your calling is not allergic to rest. In fact, calling decays under constant emergency. Sabbath is commandment-level wisdom, not a luxury for people with fewer responsibilities than you. Covenant courage will ask you to act in public ways, saying no to timelines that lie, calling the room back to values, but much of it is quiet. It sounds like a seatbelt click when you feel an argument rising. It looks like a gentle hand on your own chest in a bathroom stall. It feels like letting someone else be wrong about you for a while, because chasing them would cost your peace at a bad rate. You learn to spend your energy where it compounds: clarity, kindness, and consistency. That compound interest will fund decisions you can't see yet. Mobilizing without manipulation means you call people into meaning, not into your anxieties. You will lead by asking for shared commitments and leaving room for conscience. This is why the work matters. This is the part only you can do. Here's how we'll measure it and protect your capacity while you do it. You replace threats with ownership, guilt with gratitude, vagueness with milestones. And you keep a short list of rituals that turn individuals into a team. A 2-minute win share at the start, 1 sentence of appreciation at the end, a quick reality check on bandwidth before assigning anything new. Rituals build cultures the way habits build lives. If your work is content and community, your calls to action can finally breathe. You don't need to trick anyone into a like or a share to prove impact. Invite a simple embodied response that reinforces identity. Ask them to choose a word for Monday and put it where they'll see it. Ask them to message one person. I'm with you today. Say the word and I'll pray. Ask them to take a breath and whisper, I'm kept, before they speak. You're not recruiting customers. You're gathering chosen ones into practice presence. If 777 is the symbol they know, let it be an altar, not a gimmick, a way of saying, I'm ready and I'm not walking alone. Covenant courage also means drawing lines around coercion wherever it hides, even in your own methods. You don't dangle belonging as bait. You don't tell people they'll miss God if they don't meet your deadline. You don't collapse conviction into shame. You speak plainly. Here's the invitation. Here's the cost. Here's the grace if you can't. Love survives people's no. God's plans don't panic. When you lead like that, you become a safe place to grow. You will face moments when acting feels like betraying someone and not acting feels like betraying yourself. That's a real crossroad. Courage in covenant asks, which betrayal aligns with love? Often it means disappointing someone's expectation to keep faith with your assignment. You do it without contempt. You bless them as you say no. You offer what you can without offering your core. The grief that follows is clean, the kind you can pray through without naming yourself a traitor. Keep a few anchor sentences ready for when the day tries to scatter you. I do the next right thing. I move at the speed of love. I am allowed to disappoint people I respect. I choose the decision that lets me look God in the eyes and sleep. Don't wait for the perfect phrasing. Use what works. These lines are doors out of panic rooms. You can carry them in a pocket, on a screen, in your mouth. And when the window for action opens, when the email needs an answer, the room needs a stand, the child needs a boundary, the friend needs a truth, take it. Not with performance, with presence. You will shake sometimes. Courage is not the absence of tremble. It is the refusal to let tremble pick your path. Move anyway. Many of the outcomes you fear will dissolve in the light of a single clear sentence. The ones that weren't meant to be maintained by fear to begin with. At day's end, covenant courage does not grade itself by metrics you can post. It asks better questions. Did I act from being kept? Did I guard dignity, mine and theirs? Did I repair when I missed? If the answers are mixed, you are normal and loved. If the answers lean, yes, more than last week, you are growing. And growth in covenant is not measured by applause. It's measured by peace that lasts past midnight. This is how you translate conviction into motion without coercion. You let promise decide pace. You let love choose method. You let truth carry tone. You move like someone held. And Monday, with all its moving parts and moods, becomes a place you don't just endure. You inhabit with authority that smells like heaven and looks like a person who keeps their word, keeps their center, and keeps showing up with a yes that costs something and is still free. And after courage comes the work that lasts. The knitting of moments into a pattern, the way an insight stops being a spark and becomes a lantern you actually carry. Breakthroughs are beautiful, but without integration, they fade like flashes behind your eyes. You don't need more flashes. You need a way of living that keeps translating revelation into routines, conviction into calendar, love into structure. This is where your story stops being a sequence of rescues and starts becoming a rule of life. The quiet framework that lets grace keep doing tomorrow what it did today. Integration isn't a sprint. It's a marriage between your deepest values and your smallest moves. You start by noticing what worked in you when the weather rose. The breath that returned your voice, the sentence that kept you honest, the pause that saved the room. You keep those on purpose. You place them where your hands can find them without thinking. You fix a time each day to return to presence before the world makes requests. You mark a little closing light in the evening to stitch the story back together when it frays. These are not dramatic gestures. They are faithful ones, and faithfulness is how identities grow muscles. When the week begins to swirl, your rule of life shields you from drift. You already decided when to start and when to stop, so urgency cannot keep moving the goalposts. You already decided which conversations deserve slowness, so reaction cannot steal reverence. You already decided to tell the truth when you're tired, so fatigue cannot rent your mouth. And when you break your own rule, and you repair without verdicts. The rule is a handrail, not a hammer. You reach for it again, not because you failed, but because you remembered what keeps you whole. Legacy is just integration that outlived your calendar. It's what remains when your energy leaves the room. The way people feel safer to tell the truth because you stayed kind when it was costly. The way meetings carry less panic because you modeled decisions made from being kept, not being cornered. The way the young borrow courage because you held yours without bragging. You won't always see it forming, the way a tree doesn't notice its rings. But the rings form every time love costs you something and you pay without sending an invoice later. That accrues. That becomes history. You will feel the pull to make your new steadiness a performance. Resist. Integration loves ordinary fidelity. Make a breakfast the way you wish someone had made it for you, with a plate that says dignity before the day starts issuing grades. Answer the email the way you want to be answered, with clarity and a warm tone that assumes a human on the other end. Put your phone away at dinner like you're guarding a chapel. Visit the people inside your home like a pastor who knows the names of the children. These are small things, which is how big things stay true. You also build a tribe on purpose, not a club of your clones, a field where differences can be named and kept without exile. Invite the friends who tell you the truth and bring soup. Invite the elders who have nothing to prove and the young who are still loud with miracle. Invite the quiet ones who bring presence like a weighted blanket. Teach each other rituals that turn strangers into family. A brief check-in where everyone names one gratitude and one burden. A shared line of scripture or a song that returns the room to love when opinions heat up. A practice of restoring each other after conflict that doesn't need a referee. Tribes aren't found. They're formed by people who keep showing up when novelty dies. If leadership is your field, build culture like you would build a sturdy table, with legs that don't wobble under weight. Let integrity be the first leg, the sound of promises kept. Let clarity be the second, the kindness of decision and definition. Let repair be the third, the speed of ownership when harm happens. Let celebration be the fourth, the habit of noticing good work in public, so the soul remembers it's not a machine. When those legs hold, people do the best work of their lives without losing themselves. That is the kind of legacy heaven claps for that never trends, but always lasts. Remember how attachment heals, through attachment. Keep strengthening the bonds that teach your nervous system a new normal. Pray like someone who believes God answers in presence more often than in fireworks. Sit with Scripture long enough for it to rearrange your posture, not just your opinions. Let apart from you, I can do nothing, slow your ambition into obedience. Let He restores my soul sink below your theology into your habits. Rest becomes part of your calling, not a treat you earn with exhaustion. Let your home become a story about the God you preach in your bones. Not perfection, peace. Not control, hospitality. Let a child's question interrupt an email because you decided people outrank projects. Let flowers on a table preach resurrection in months that feel gray. Let laughter be considered useful. Let appliances hum like instruments in a quiet orchestra of care. In such houses, people exhale, and when they exhale, their true questions come out where love can answer them. As you keep showing up, you'll notice a shift. Trials lose their power to rename you. They remain trials, but no longer identity thieves. Your tribe will mirror this back to you when you forget. They will remind you of the sentences you've taught them. You are allowed to pause. You move at the speed of love. You are kept. And you will remind them right back. This is how legacy loops. Word to breath to action to community and back to word again. It is a circle, not a ladder. There will be days you feel like you're starting over. You're not. You're continuing. Integrations don't vanish because you had a bad afternoon any more than a tree becomes a sapling because winter was loud. On those days, reduce your world to what you can bless. Pet the dog. Wash the cup. Send one honest text instead of 3 heroic plans. Choose a 10-minute walk over a 10-hour autopsy. Return to your handrail. It's waiting like it always is. And when you're ready to widen again, give away what you've kept. Teach the breath. Teach the pause. Teach the question that turns fights into problems you can solve. Teach the clean boundary that saves love from martyrdom. Teach the prayer that fits in a breath. Give it to anyone who wants it without owning their pace. Seeds know what to do with soil you'll never see. You're not responsible for harvest. You're responsible for sowing like someone who believes the ground is good. Many will ask you how to stay steady when storms keep coming. You will not sell them a trick. You will tell them a person. You will tell them about the shepherd who gives peace that doesn't require perfect weather. You will tell them about the crossroad where you learn to disappoint expectations to obey love. You will tell them about the day you stopped bargaining your name for belonging. You will tell them about the tribe that held you when your legs shook. And then you will sit with them while their own sentences form. It is not arrogant to aim for legacy. It's humble to aim for what will outlast you because you finally trust that the work isn't about you. Legacy is what happens when a life becomes porous to God. People step into rooms you once stood in and feel a little safer telling the truth. They say please and thank you without keeping score. They hold the line without hardening the face. They pray without theatrics and laugh like resistance. They forgive without amnesia and say no without a flare of violence. And children grow up thinking this is normal because in your house it was. If you want a picture to keep on the inside of your eyelids, keep this one. A long table on an ordinary evening. Not a holiday, not a production. Lamps low, plates real, clutter honest. People arrive bearing loud weeks and quiet wounds. Someone begins with a breath. Someone else reads a few lines that remind you all why you're here. You hold hands or don't. You pass bread and stories. Laughter breaks open at something silly, and no one weaponizes it. A hard thing gets named, and the room doesn't flinch. A prayer is said that doesn't try to impress heaven, and everyone feels seen. The night ends early enough for morning to still be kind. Doors close. Lamps go dark, and somewhere just beyond the walls, legacy grows a ring you can't yet count. When you lay down, the voice that used to prosecute you for not doing enough tries one last time. Let it pass like weather against a window. Pray simple. Thank you for keeping me when I forgot. Thank you for the breath I borrowed and the love I got to give. Thank you for the small wins that look like nothing but feel like a future. I place what's unfinished in your hands because nothing was ever finished by me alone. Then sleep as an act of faith. Night is a sanctuary for the kept. You won't see the whole arc of what you're building. That's not your burden. That's your freedom. You just keep weaving the 3 chords you committed to: presence, truth, repair, until they feel like muscle memory. You keep choosing the next right sentence. You keep practicing the rule that keeps you human. You keep blessing the room you're in instead of hunting for a room that will finally bless you. And Monday stops being a cliff and becomes a road. One you walk with people you love, under a sky that keeps clearing toward a future that has already been promised. Tonight, let everything you carried set itself down one by one. The worries lined up like soldiers can be dismissed without a fight. The body doesn't need another argument. It needs a signal, so give it one. Lay a hand where the breath begins. Let the exhale be longer and softer, like you're fogging a winter window. There's no contest to win here. You can let the day be the day and the bed be a boat. The current is gentle. You're allowed to float. If there were sentences you wish you'd said better, forgiveness can stand in for rehearsals. If there were moments you missed, mercy fills gaps for a living. Imagine the shepherd walking the perimeter of your house, quiet and unhurried, checking whatever doors your mind keeps staring at. Nothing has to be solved on the pillow. The night shift is sacred, and you're not on it. Release the posture of vigilance and borrow the posture of a child who trusts, heaviness yielding to being held. See if you can find one gratitude that isn't a performance. It might be as small as the way light hit the floor this morning, as ordinary as the cup you warmed your hands around, as human as a laugh that surprised you into remembering you're still capable of joy. Let that gratitude be a key. Turn it. Let the room inside you unlock, one hinge at a time, until there's enough space for sleep to enter without asking permission. You can whisper if you like, no audience required. I am kept. I am forgiven. I'm allowed to rest. Let the words dissolve into quiet. Let your bones grow heavy and the mind grow kind. Somewhere beneath the noise, a promise keeps humming the same line it's always sung. You are loved, and you are already home.